blues band, but everyone plays fuzz pedals.
Well, it's a Weezer cover band.
Yeah.
Fuzz pedals, and you shuffle all the Weezer songs.
Oh my God, Blueser!
Hey, if you want to destroy my sweater. If you want to destroy my sweater.
Trevor and Andy Show.
Welcome to the Trevor and Andy Show. Today we're talking about Weezer's Blue album. It turned 25 this year. What a monumentous punk rock album. So we're just going to talk a little bit about that. And at the end here, Andy's got some tabs that he's going to share with you. So if you go down to the bottom of this video, we'll have a link and you can actually learn how to play a few of the songs correctly, I might add. Because Weezer, they're pretty slick. They got some cool dissonant stuff going on. I think the first thing I like talking about is Weezer in general just had a huge impact on me. I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of punk rock and pop punk and stuff like that, and there's a lot of stuff that has come and gone. There's a lot of that pop punk that was kind of like in the scene, and it was kind of derivative of what a lot of the other stuff that was going on, like a response to everything going on. But you have some records like the Blue Album, for example, that just like stand the test of time. Some of the stuff they do on that record in terms of like the dissonance and they modulate a lot in their bridges, and like for a pop punk record, it wasn't very common to hear that kind of stuff going on. It was kind of like a little more slick than you'd expect from that.
I mean, I remember, a lot of that stuff when I was growing up. It was a lot of power chords, a lot of chugging along. Weezer brought like a what's the word? They brought some class. I think.
Yeah.
And they had some expensive chords and
expensive chords. Yeah. Yeah.
And that a lot of the punk guys weren't doing, and it worked, right? Because it was still simple, but then there's that a lot of their tunes have this really dissonant element to their riffs, and that makes it really, really ear-catching and a lot more interesting to listen to, I think.
Yeah, and Rivers is a hell of a guitarist. Yeah. Like over the years I've learned a few Weezer tunes, and he can shred, dude. Which I love that. Shredding rules, bruh. A couple fun facts about the Blue Album. I didn't realize the late Ric Ocasek from the Cars, rest in peace, he just passed, he produced the Blue Album, which is so cool, and it makes sense. One of the things I did read is that he convinced them all to switch to the bridge pickup. Because I guess, they use a lot of fuzz and like heavy distortions, and I think he wanted a little more clarity on the record, which was a good call, because it sounds great. One of the other things that I thought was really interesting, which I do want to talk about, because this is a great lesson for students. Rivers Cuomo and Matt Sharp, the bassist, insisted that the record be recorded with nothing but down strums.
Interesting.
They wanted the guitar and the bass to sound like just one 10-string instrument. They wanted it to be in unison and really tight. And if you listen to, especially Sweater Song is a great example, just very simple. Da 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 da, like that heavy chorus. The reason why it sounds so good is because everyone's on board with the same strum pattern. Everyone's playing the same thing. If someone was going da 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 and someone was going da 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 and all over the place, it wouldn't sound as punchy and heavy and effective. So I think that's really cool, and I think that's something that when you're making a record, definitely talk about the strum pattern, because that is huge. A lot of people don't talk about the strum pattern.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, even if you're going fast and you're strumming, all 6 strings, if you're going low to high, you're hitting the strings in that order. So you hear the low string just a tiny fraction of a second before you hit the high string.
Yeah.
Compared to using an upstroke for the same chord, you're going to get that high-end information first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, neither's right or wrong, but making that decision on purpose and, kind of, mindfully with thought, I want this to lock in with the bass, so we're going to strum everything using a downstroke at the same time will help glue that together, compared to, maybe the guitar player's doing everything on an upstroke. It wouldn't have the same cohesiveness.
Pay attention to those details, because they come through, especially on a record. The record that'll live forever. Another fun fact, Weezer's original guitarist got the boot during the recording process of the Blue Album. Apparently, I guess his girlfriend got pregnant or something, and he was freaking out. And Rivers was, and this is like, they just got signed. I think to Geffen. They're in the studio with Ric Ocasek from the Cars, and this guy's freaking out. So Rivers, I think, gave him the axe. And then Brian Bell came in, and he's another great guitarist, great addition to the band. I guess Rivers came in and all the guitars were done. And he goes to Rick. He's like, "Yeah, I just fired my guitarist. He's having a lot of personal issues."
How to be a fly on the wall in that conversation.
Oh, and he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna re-record his guitar parts." And Rick's like, "No, you're not. It's done." And Rivers came in apparently and recorded them all over again in one take. They gave credit to the original guitarist. I think he came up with the intro from "My Name Is Jonas," which hats off to him. That's a very cool intro to the record. The moral of the story is, if you're the studio Weezer and your girlfriend's pregnant, just keep it cool, man. Keep it cool.
You'll get kicked out of Weezer.
Yeah. They recorded at Electric Lady Studios in New York City, and apparently that dude was on top of the roof screaming. Let's see. So I think the two songs we were talking about was we had Sweater Song, which has this really cool dissonant riff at the beginning. Same with It Aint So, which is probably arguably, their two most famous songs. So if you want to learn how to play those intros correctly,
If you want to download the PDFs, just go down to the description of this video and click on the link and you'll be good to go.
click the link. Personal favorite on the Blue Album. It's tough for me to pick one, but I've always really loved The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. I always thought it was so cool that you had this acoustic guitar arpeggiating, and then there's just like this heavy guitar over the top of it. So I thought that was such a cool sound to have that like really shimmery acoustic with a really distorted guitar over the top, and I always remember that when I'm making records, because I'm like, man, it's like that, the contrast just sounds so cool to me. What's your personal favorite, would you say?
Well, Undone, the Sweater Song, has a special place in my heart. It's one of the first songs I learned on the guitar.
It's so good. I love it.
Overall, though, I think Buddy Holly's got to be
yeah.
my favorite from the album.
Dude. Oh, dude.
Such a great line, such a great melody.
Oh my god. And it's so funny. I remember when I was young, my buddy Vince and I were obsessed with Weezer, and we were watching the video, I think, and his mom is like, "Haha, he really does look like Buddy Holly." And I thought that was so funny, and I'm like, I was young, I don't really think I was aware of, I was in 7th grade of who Buddy Holly really was, but I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Trevor and Andy Show, thank you so much for tuning in. Go home, listen to Weezer's Blue Album again, it's a great record, and happy birthday, Weezer's Blue Album, 25 years. You've grown up to be a fine young man, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, Trevor and Andy Show. Woo!